Hi everybody, welcome to another card making video. Today I'm going to show you how I made this watercolor background. I came across an older tutorial on YouTube from Christina Werner, where she shared a tip for making watercolor backgrounds. It was so useful to me that I wanted to make a card to show you how I approach it. So, let's get started. Ben je Nederlands? Er is ondertiteling beschikbaar. First I start with coloring my images. I'm using my Copic markers and I put the cap with the color number on the left of my paper to show you which colors I use. I stamped out two mermaids from Mermaid for You and also the little seahorses from that set. The bigger seahorse is from Seahorsing Around and the two jellyfish are from Ocean Shell-fie. All these sets are from Lawn Fawn. When I was just saying that I placed the cap on the left, I forgot it with this marker. But I continue with it right away and now I put the cap down. It's the same number. This color number wasn't the right one and I'm sorry for that. My caps got mixed up and I'm not sure which color it really was, but just use a light blue and you will be alright. If you want to skip watching me color, you can skip to the time that pop-ups on the screen now. You can also find the clickable time link in the description. I always have tried to include different skin colors in my cards, but since Black Lives Matters I'm being even more aware of this. Maybe you also already do this with your cards, but if not, please read into it for a bit. It will make the world a better place. After I'm done coloring, I'm going over the inner lines with my black fine liner to make them a little darker, since they tend to become a bit dull after coloring. To finish my images off, I'm using a white gel pen. Not only do I add highlight lines, but I also add some white dots on the critters for some extra detail. I'm die cutting the images off screen. Next up is the watercolor background. I have a piece of watercolor paper which I will die cut later with a double stitch rectangle that is a tiny bit smaller. I'm taping it to my glass media mat so it will warp less. For the watercolor effect you can use different supplies. You could use actual watercolors, but also distress inks for example. I am using aqua markers, which are basically watercolors inside of a marker case. I'm scribbling some down on my glass media mat and I add a drop of water. Now here's the trick I picked up from the tutorial I saw earlier. You take a piece of acetate and dip it into the watercolor. Now you can place it on the paper and manipulate a little what you want to happen to it. You don't have full control of course, but that's the beauty of watercolor backgrounds. But it sure lets you place your colors better. If you want, you can dry it with your heat gun in between colors to layer it, but I want the colors to mix a little, so I continue right away. After I'm done, I'm going to dry it with my heat gun so I can continue adding some splatters. I just use some of the same colors, scribble some down on my mat and then add a drop of water so it's easier to splatter it with. When I'm done, I'm drying it again with my heat gun. Then I take off the tape and off screen I'm die cutting it with the double stitch rectangle. Now I'm going to assemble the card. I already prepped the white card base and cut a pattern paper to size. I glue on the paper to the card and then I wanted to continue with adding tin foam tape to my background when I remembered I need to stamp my sentiment first. I'm stamping the sentiment "Waving Hello" from the Mermaid for You set with Memento Northern Pine. Now I'm adding the tin foam tape to my background. I adhere the background to my card. After that it's time to add my images. I'm also using tin foam tape for this to give it just a little bit of dimension. I'm adding some accents with some transfer foil. The one I have was pretty inexpensive because I found it at a budget store. I take out a piece of foil and I'm going to add little bits of glue on my card. I use my finger to smoosh the glue a bit so it will get a little tackier. Now, if I press down the foil on it, some of the foil will stick to the glue. Now that the transfer foil details are added, I'm adding some sequins to my scene. I always struggled with regular glue to stick them down, but I learned that glossy accents is your way to go. The sequins immediately stick down and the glossy accent dries clear. Now for the last embellishment I'm going to use clear Nouveau drops. If it's a little colder inside, I'm always warming up the bottles in my hand first, but it's warm enough here so I didn't have to do that now. I'm still getting a soft peak though, so I'm using something sharp to twirl it down a bit. That always works for me. And that's the finished card. Of course the Nouveau drops needs to dry a little more to become a full transparent. But you will see how that turned out in the picture I'm showing after this. I'm so glad I came across this awesome tip of using some acetate. I bought a bunch of these water-based markers, but it always ended up being a mess. With this I can enjoy watercolor backgrounds way better. I hope you've learned something from my video and that I inspired you. If you like my video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell to receive notifications when a new video is up. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye!